going outside because of the curfew and because,
Mhm.
as you said, there is no energy enough to do something after iftar.
Is this
Uh,
is this lack of energy coming from fasting or coming from exhaustive work?
I think from exhaustive work without full energy because of
Mhm.
lacking your routine or ordinary breakfast and lunch in the normal days.
What do
Uh,
what what kind of source do you depend on regularly to get your energy that ensures you sustainable flow of performance on a daily basis?
Look, maybe it is we used to drink something or to eat something, snacks or something like that during the work.
When
Uh,
when you say drink something, what is that something?
I'm seeing you give me signs by your eyes and eyebrow.
Well,
So don't don't go far away. It's just like tea and coffee.
I have Gucci mind, so I would definitely consider the options out there. I don't know people. I don't know what people
Look,
drink.
one of the most important drink for me during the work day is the water. I'm drinking too much water, and I think it is a very good source for energy. Maybe at least for me.
Well,
So I'm lacking this in the day of Ramadan, and I
mhm.
feel it's affect me too much. Yeah.
It affected you too much.
Yeah.
Would you elaborate a little bit more on that, please?
Look, our bodies consist of 70% of water. It
Hmm.
is the energy of our mitochondria and it is the energy source of our cells. So
Hmm.
when there is lack in the water, or maybe I'm used to drink 7 or 8 glasses per day, and because of Ramadan, I'm drinking 2 or 3. Especially our working day is in the midday where there is an increase in the temperature of the day reaching for 38 or maybe 40. This will make the body sweating and
Sweating,
lose
sweat.
sweating, yeah, sweating and losing some of the water that exists inside your body. So you have to compensate it. But because of Ramadan fasting action, you cannot do that. So I think it affect me by it decrease my energy.
Um, okay, well, that's from a biological point of view
Yeah.
or biochemical point of view. I
Mhm.
want you to tell me a little bit about the medical perspective of fasting. There is lots of conspiracy on that kind of topic, and some people debate against fasting as it hurts kidneys, and some
Mhm.
people say it's healthy to the body
Mhm.
of a human being. So, aside from religion, what do you consider fasting as a contributor to your body? And while you're talking, I'm listening to you. I'll grab my pen and keep listening to you.
Okay, okay, don't worry. Well, from the point of view of the science or the pharmacological point of view, I think
You have
according
no idea how much I love this word.
pharmacological,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not using pharmaceutical because I'm a
Uh-huh.
pharmacist, but I said pharmacological.
Mhm.
According
Well, we
to
have a
the
juicy topic. We have a
yeah.
juicy topic about pharmacies and viruses that I'll give you the floor um, to um, to elaborate in details about it because this is our topic of training for tonight.
Mhm, mhm,
There is something important that we have to address, discuss, and
mhm,
tackle, resolve, and move on to our next step. So
mhm,
let's be aware and wary of that. But
mhm.
going back to the square of your conversation regarding the
Yeah.
pharmacological, I don't know the exact spelling of that, but
Mhm.
what do you think? What do you think of that from that perspective, particularly?
Yeah. According to the essays that I had read about that issue from the time of when I was a student at the College of Pharmacy,
Mm-hmm.
we read that fasting is very good for the body because it give your body a time to digest the food and a time for make the action of absorption for the food 100% rather than you accumulate the food from the time of breakfast to the time of lunch because it is a short time. Then you have to eat something afternoon. Maybe you have after that you have to eat the dinner. There are some people to take another snack before the sleep. So the fasting give your body a long time to digest and absorb the foods 100%. And it is not from the scientific point of view only, but it is a biologically cells of the intestine of GIT cannot digest all the time. It needs time to take a rest. So fasting give that cells or that organs, which is GIT, general
Mm-hmm.
tract of intestine, to take time to rest. The enzymes, the hormones that help or assist in the digestion process, to take a rest, to regenerate itself. So according to that, fasting is very important, not from the point of view of the religion, but from the point of view of pharmacologically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Always, sorry. Also, it is very important for the people that need to do diet for themselves. Maybe they have an increase in the body weight, so fasting is very good and a healthy way to do diet without get rid of some of what they are doing, some of carbohydrates or proteins in the ordinary day. Getting rid of from getting rid a lunch meal, and this is very important to them. Yeah.
Moving on, you will notice that when we are talking, I'll try to shift the topic to our field of interest and our field of discussion.
Mhm.
And that takes me in the train of thought to ask you about the crisis of COVID in India
Yeah.
and the Indian strain of COVID virus.
Mhm.
Your comment on that with elaboration and details is highly appreciated.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. I saw the topic that you have shared with me and also the diagram of increased
So you
decreases.
understand why we are going to talk about India.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, this lovely and peaceful country facing this terrible
Have
virus
you been
by this.
to India before? Have you been to India before?
Yes, I visited India very recently. I think it was at August 2019.
Wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
first of all, we have a very good juicy topic to talk about. First of all, tell us about your observation of India before we move on to talk about the virus, which is very technical and diluted topic. Tell us about your perception of travel of India. Prior to COVID-19,
Mm.
was it a good tourist destination that you recommend to travel to?
Yeah.
What was your impression about India? What was your stereotypical idea, الفكرة النمطية عن India, and then when
Mhm.
you visited India, how did that change? These
Mhm.
are pronged kind of questions that I want you to elaborate on, and then we will digress to talk about the COVID and the crisis of COVID. Then we will try to describe that because that is our point of discussion. It's
Mhm.
relevant to IELTS. It's task number one. It usually comes in IELTS test, and we just need to address it in details.
Mhm. Mhm. Um, To be honest with you, it was a business visit. It was a business travel. It
Mhm.
wasn't a tourism one. And I was afraid because I heard always that there are many types of viruses there over there in India, just like the malaria. And all peoples that, or all my friends that visited India talking about that issue. There is no high level of hygiene in India, so you have to be aware if you're going to a restaurant, if you are going to the hotel, if you are going to anywhere, you have to clean your hands. Be sure from the food that you will have, something like that. But to be honest, also with you, India is very beautiful country. Have a large green fields wherever you are going inside India. You will see the green tree from two sides of the way, but also you have to say the cows in the middle of the way, and no one can talk
The
with
holy
them.
cows.
Yeah, you holy cows, yeah, holy cows, and
Mhm.
no one can push them or do something to them because they regard it as a holy animal. We visited a pharmaceutical company over there. It was a huge company. I have been shocked from the huge building and the number of the ISO certificates that they had at that company. In our field, if one company, one pharmaceutical company, has one ISO from a reference country, we said
Mhm.
a reference country to describe USA, England, Australia, Canada, those the countries of the first world. But
Mhm.
when you are finding a company, a pharmaceutical company in India has seven ISO certificates.
Mhm.
Seven. It was something I have been shocked. Wallahi, I have been shocked from them.
Well, just to explain to the audience that
Yeah,
when you talk about ISO,
yeah,
we mean particularly the International
yeah,
Standardization Organization. I
yeah.
think that's the abbreviation for that, and it means that this organization has standards that are
Follow the
famous and
global
respected.
standards to do the manufacturing of something.
Yes, all
Yeah,
over the world.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Keep going.
Yeah, it was. I think it was 4 days, rather than the day of traveling and the day of return back to Iraq. That 4 days we spent in the maybe 3 days in the company, and one day for shopping and for discovering the city.
Mhm.
The city was Gujarat. Gujarat. And we have
Chai.
something. Yeah, yeah, we have something in the Arab traditional
Uh-huh.
name Gujarat, which is some leaves.
And
Um, uh,
there's another thing that you
mm,
didn't mention.
mhm,
Word chai in Iraqi Arabic is
mhm,
not is a form of tea or chai in India.
mm.
So when I was in the United States, we used to order something called chai tea.
Aha. So you
Um,
mean Indian tea?
it is Indian tea that is made in Gujarat.
Mm-hmm.
par-
Mm-hmm.
particularly. And I think the way they do it is they mix it with milk and some sort of ingredients that tastes very spicy and reminiscing of India.
You mean karak tea? Karak.
No, chai tea.
Uh,
It's called
chai tea.
chai. You can Google it. It's very distinctive kind of tea. It is not the regular kind of tea. It's
Um,
it tastes very milky.
Yes,
Um,
yes, the
and
karak tea is the same. They are combined tea, loose tea with milk and cardamom and some spices and extract
card
something
cardamom.
something like that.
Cardamom.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Okay.
what was your observation about Indian hotels since you
And
were in Gujarat?
yes, it was very beautiful and a big hotel with 5 stars on the shape of a big ship from the
Hmm.
outside. It was very clean. The staff over there were very kind, smiling all over the time, and very helpful. They were very helpful.
What
Um,
how do you describe Indian people in general when you observed that this company is particularly has nine, I think you said nine ISOs?
yeah, seven,
Seven.
seven, seven.
So, how do you describe people in India? How do they work hard
Yeah.
to obtain this standardization internationally?
Yes, they are workable people, peaceful people, smiling over the time, all the time, working hardly, and they
No.
are, I think, no,
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
yes, yes, they are following the standards of UK 100%. I think the impression of England occupation 50 years ago is still in the street, still in the traditional and or in the culture of India. But
Hmm.
one of my sad observations, Walid, to be honest with you, the poor people that I observed living in the street. They living in the street from two sides, and they were very poor in comparing with the owner of that pharmaceutical company, which was a billionaire. You have to think why these layers in one country, why there is someone very rich and there is one very poor. But all people, the poor one and the rich one, they are workable people. I love them.
When you say workable people, what do you
Yeah,
mean exactly?
they are working. Maybe they are working 20 hours per day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that because they are very poor or just because they don't want to live the lifestyle of the majority of poor people in that area?
No, not because they are poor, but because they are loving work.
Oh, they love work. So they are loyal
Yeah.
to their work.
Yes, they are loyal. And the owner of the company, maybe if you don't know him, you can regard him as one of the staff. You can
Ah,
find, yeah, you can find him in the packaging area. You can find him in the labeling area. You can find him wearing just the same level of the clothes of the most poorest staff or employee in the company.
so there is some sense of modesty and humble uh,
Yeah,
kind of lifestyle among
yeah,
them. Is this what you
yeah,
noticed in general?
yeah, yeah.
How do you compare them to the pharmaceutical workers in any typical Iraqi company? What what are the differences in this perspective? Um,
Well, this
just
is
choose three axes to talk about and sequentially order them by first, second, and third.
yeah. This is a good question and very important for me because I saw pharmaceutical companies in UAE, in Europe, in Iraq, and as well in India. When I was sorry, when I want to compare an Indian company with an Iraqi one, um, there is differences because the Indian one is very big and maybe it's huge in the square meters that they build on the land. In Iraq is very small companies. The manufacturing site is very big in the Indian company. The manufacturing site in Iraqi company is so small or short. shorting.
Mhm.
The Also the number of employees, they are multi hundreds in the Indian company, while in Iraqi company maybe you can find it less than 100 employee. Most One of the most important observation in this comparison, the Indian company following very hard standards, following the UK pharmacopoeia or the American pharmacopoeia in manufacturing, while in Iraqi company they are following um, something from here, something from there. No standards, no clear standards.
So
Um,
there's no symmetry in terms of
yeah,
the kind of standards they follow, and that just created some chaos in the way
yeah,
of the structure of the pharmaceutical company and the
yeah,
manufacturing of medicine, and the synergy or cooperation among the employees and their background and their
yeah,
training. Is this what you're
yeah,
trying to say?
yeah.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
that's so.
One last thing, which is very important, Waleed. The Indian companies is a twin, are twins with UK companies. So you can find there is consultants from UK doing joint work inside the Indian companies. We are lacking this sharing ideas or thoughts or actions in Iraqi companies, unfortunately.
Is this contributing positively or negatively to the quality of medicine that they're producing and the kind of medical experimentation that they conduct in their laboratories to ensure a high efficacy of their medicine that is introduced to
This
people?
is this is 100% positive action when you share the ideas and thoughts from Europe country, especially if it is a reference country, just like I said, as UK, because you will get to the end user at the end of this process, you can get a good quality with a cheap price.
Okay, and is this what is common about the Indian medicine?
Yes, it is common.
Okay, so uh, that leads me to a very important aspect of our discussion through
Mhm.
our theme of negotiation tonight about India,
Yeah.
particularly, and this poor continent and smart continent. Um, why do you think
Mhm.
that despite all the pharmaceutical background and experts and pioneers in the field of pharmacology, the whole COVID-19 started to just tear the continent apart and kill thousands of people within this limited or specific point of time of
Yeah.
the COVID, where the majority of countries in Europe and in some Middle East started to open up for
Yeah.
tourism?
Yeah. It's a good question and important one. I think, maybe I believe that the level of hygiene for the people is not related with the quality of the product that they are manufacturing.
You
Indian
mean
people,
is on bar, is on is on bar.
yeah.
Okay.
Indian people manufacturing very good quality products, medicinal products, but they are not in a good quality, not in a good level or high level of hygiene. As I said to you, there are people living on the street. So what you can imagine the amount of viruses and bacteria that they are facing all over all the day, from the early morning to the middle
Mm-hmm.
to the midnight, because of the walking people, because of the cars in the street, because of the heavy rain that we are facing. When we were in the street of India, there were very heavy rain. So it is something not related with each other. It is not a joint issue, is the level of hygiene and the level of manufacturing pharmaceutical products. So that the issue
That's
why
reason number one.
COVID-19.
Can you
Yes,
can you think of another reason that
yes,
probably people's educational level or their discreditation of the
Yes.
whole concept or conspiracy of COVID, since it's, you know, since it is not seen, it's not believed, because
Yes.
people usually have more uh, uh, I mean, I don't want to talk about the case of Iraq because our case is
Mm.
kind of much more complicated, and people just need to have a religious man just goes to inject himself with the vaccine, so they believe him. They don't believe in
Yes.
science, they believe in religion more, and this whole thing has been just contributing negatively to the
Uh-uh.
increased
You can
dramatic.
find the same thing in India. You can find the same thing. They
Uh-huh.
are believe in the religion more than the science, and I can enumerate and summarize the three reasons of the tragedy COVID-19 action nowadays in India by number one, as I said, the level of hygiene. Number two, the huge number of people over there, and number three, the huge number of uneducated people, which
Hmm.
is related with with your speech, Walid. They are believing the religion more than the science itself.
I see that.
Yeah, yeah.
And where do you think India is heading right now with this sort of crisis?
Well, I think the first world and all the countries that love India will stand with it. Even the countries that they had war between them, like Pakistan. I hear that Pakistan announced that it is ready to help India by sending some medicines to fight COVID, as well as UK, United States of America, Canada, and Australia, and UAE. All
Mhm.
people all countries will help this country, because this is the nature of the human beings to help each other, and it is something confused that India regarded as the second country all over the world in manufacturing the vaccines for fighting the
Vaccine.
COVID-19. Yes, vaccines for treating or fighting COVID-19, and it is now facing this terrible vaccine without getting any success in it.
I'm very saddened to see the patients fall in the streets and accompanied by their family members trying to help them, whom will be infected again because of
Mm.
the seriousness of this disease and the high risk of this strain of virus. I don't think we have enough time to talk a little bit more about this particular strain of virus and how it is different. But can you just
Mhm.
explain to me in a minute or two max why the Indian virus is far more dangerous than the other
Mhm.
versions of viruses of COVID?
Yeah. In general, any virus, Mr. Walid, does not treat it well or does not treat it by the right medicine or the right drug, it
Hmm.
will modify itself to be more stronger. This is a general base in the pharmacology.
Basis.
Yes, it is a general basis in pharmacology. Even the bacteria, but bacteria differ on the virus. If the wrong way of a treatment or the wrong treatment itself, the bacteria, you have two things to do: static or sedal. Static or sedal. If you use the wrong treatment, bacteria take the static action, which is inert, to be
Hmm.
inert. Why, when the treatment disappear from the body, it will be active again. Or if the circumstances inside the body will be very suitable to it, it will be reactivate itself again. While sedal means death of the bacteria. When you use the right treatment, the bacteria will get will get death, will get died. The virus is different story. Virus has nocidal anesthetic action. Virus, if you use the right treatment, you will get rid of it. But if you use the wrong treatment, you will make a monster. You will make a monster from this virus. It will modify itself to be more stronger to fighting or facing that treatment. So I think, to answer your question, I think this Indian version modified from the last version because there were
When
bad treatment.
let's talk particularly about the word modified.
Yeah.
When you said this version is modified more, when we say the word modify, we just imply that because it's a virus, it has been modified by an agent. So, do you mean, and excuse me if I say this, but do you mean that the virus has been manufactured by laboratories and they modify it, or you mean that the virus developed its mechanism of resistance to immunity?
Yes, developed its mechanism. To invade another people, to invade another host, another body, and to fight the treatment that they were used in the last version.
Okay, now let's pause a second here to give you a little bit of my feedback on what you said, and then we can move to check out the image that I sent you. I just want you to open it in the Skype, have a look at it while I give you the feedback here. You mentioned the word diet. It's actually diet. So the correct way of saying that is diet. So diet.
Yeah.
Diet. And the second one is malaria. So not malaria, malaria. And I am not 100% sure if there is a British variation or Australian variation of this particular pronunciation.
You pronounce it as a cute word, malaria. But malaria is very scary word.
Well, there is difference in the pronunciation between our. I have to admit that, and I think that is contributing to the way we say it in our pronunciation here. But that does not mean that the word still makes sense to me. Last but not least is a common mistake that a lot of us as non-native speakers make.
Of course.
And that is hard and hardly. So you mentioned while you were talking about Indian people and that they work hardly. And when we say they work hardly, that means they don't work at all. For example, I hardly see my dad because I'm fasting and all the time I'm at home. That means I rarely see my dad. I almost never see my dad. Hardly ever. So we say they work hard, and they hardly work means the opposite.
I see that.
And that's total. So going and jumping to our point of discussion of tonight. By the way, I sent you two photos. One is called Dirty Chai Tea.
I saw it.
Dirty Chai Tea. And this doesn't mean dirty by any means. Just it just means something quite interesting. And I have drunk probably I don't know. I've drank liters of this tea when I was back in the US. Before this, there is this photo of the COVID cases in India this month.
Yeah.
You, as a pharmacist, I want you to give me feedback on this chart in details, step by step. But first of all, you just need to have a look at it here and see that on average there is the max 400,000 people who
Yeah.
got affected, and that is of between the period of June 10th to April 18th.
Hmm.
Um, and that's almost half a year. So why do you think that the number of cases just spiked up on April this month? Why? But first of all, I just want you to understand that we're drawing analogy. This is pretty much the same kind of charts that you will get in IELTS.
Hmm.
To give you this kind of question of describe this chart, highlight the major important details, draw comparisons where is necessary. Like sometimes you need to draw comparisons between June 10th and April 18th.
Hmm.
And draw comparisons and August 27. So this is very important. So in general, you as a pharmacist, before we talk about the language related aspects, tell me about this chart.
Well, I think this increase in infected cases between between June 10th. You said June 10th.
Yes, I want you to have a look at the chart. You are the presenter, not me.
Yeah. Between June 10th and April 18, I think because the high connection between the people with each other without getting the instructions of hygiene, without following the instructions of social distancing,
Mhm.
without care for themselves, without care, maybe without care for the virus itself. Some people regarding the virus is a big liar, and there is no virus. Maybe this is this now from the past, and still living the normally or ordinary life with no care to the cases infected or to the cases died. This is my
Mhm.
explanation.
Okay, that definitely makes sense, but that is short explanation. Um, Now, when we talk about this kind of topics, we just need to start in the beginning by describing um, something like this, for example.
Yeah.
I'll just send it to you here. So when we talk about a chart uh, here, this is a chart that talks about the reasons of study according to age of students.
Mhm.
Um, and in this chart, it says the first graph shows that there is a gradual decrease in study of career
Okay. Yeah.
reasons with age. Nearly 80% of students under 26 years study for their career. This percentage gradually declines. So see, gradually declines by 10 to 20% every decade. Only
Mhm.
40% of the 40 to 49 years old and 18% of over 49 old students for career reasons in the late adulthood. Conversely, على العكس, the
Yes.
first graph also shows the study stemming from interest increases with age. There are only 10% of under. So there is description, a gradual description,
Yeah.
step by step description.
Yeah. This is the description. I think it's based on a data.
The data, I will attach to you the file so you can have an access to it, and it's going to be part of our discussion for our upcoming meeting.
Yeah.
But the point that I want to make here is that since the topic of COVID and viruses is relevant to your field and relevant to your occupation and work, and
Mhm.
you have direct contact to it, there is going to be far more flexibility trying to explain this to us
Mhm.
and walk us through the process of how we go out and about describing the process of writing this sort of academic short essays. By the way, you just need to only write 150 150 minimum, up to 100, let's say 75. And in the chart that you're seeing here, I'm just trying to upload it, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Give me 1 second.
By the way, did you get the vaccination?
I did.
Yeah, very good. Congratulations.
But
Which type of vaccination it was?
AstraZeneca.
Yeah, very good. And did you have any disadvantage or side effects?
Pretty much, I've gone through pretty much everything that you said to me in our last meeting.
Yeah.
So body pain, aches, sore throat,
Joints pain,
muscle
some
pain,
chills.
cramps, all
Very
those sort
good.
of things. But I mean, it's a medicine that we have to
Of course.
we have to go through this. It's just as necessary as
We
you
have no
drink.
choice, Walid. We have no choice. We have to follow the standards of the global.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating how people in the beginning of the invention of virus started to blame the government for not bringing enough supplies of the virus, of the vaccine, sorry. Both of them are with V's. So one of them is good and the other is not.
Yeah.
But now, once the government has brought everything and tried to provide people with all the necessary preparations to get the vaccine, people started to refuse getting the vaccine. And it's quite funny of a situation, and sad and funny at the same time. A couple of days ago, I was visiting a friend of mine, and there was one of his neighbors coming to Futur. So I went there for Futur, and I stayed overnight. I stayed for a couple of hours. And he said, he asked me, did you get the vaccine? I said yes. And he said, why did you get the vaccine? And I said, it's just, well,
To
how am
protect
I supposed to
myself,
ask
of course.
my family?
Yeah.
He said, this vaccine has been invented by Jews and it's supposed to kill us.
Yeah.
Well, he's brainwashed. First of all, he talks not on behalf of himself, but on behalf of the radio channel or TV channel that just bombarded him with this sort of crap. And he said they just want to change our DNA. So I asked him, what do you mean by DNA? I just wanted to see like where he's taking it. And he said,
I swear he does not know what the meaning of DNA.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
And he said, well, it's going to make me infertile.
Oh.
I was like, what's the correlation here? Like, why and how? Like, do you have any medical explanation?
And he needs fertility anymore?
Well, he has about 10 monkeys in his family, so jumping around.
So he needs no fertility anymore.
Yeah. Of course, he has some extra sperms to throw around, but not going to be the next generation of
the
stupid.
Extra sperm to throw out is not related with the fertility.
Yeah, so I was like, the whole bullshit, or as people from Texas say, the horse shit that he just splurged out, like, made me so stupid to answer him back. Like, if you answer him back, you will just try to deal with the same frequency of stupidity that he has.
Yeah.
And it just makes me sad not to respond. And once I respond, I'll just deal with him on the same frequency and auto-tune my mind to be stupid. And so I said, well, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Please don't take the vaccine. And this is your principle. Just don't take it. Like, because I really don't know if I am going to have blood clotting or any other sort of side effects. And maybe out of coincidence or irony that I die and you don't. We never know. This is a very unpredictable situation and scenario to debate about future events that we can never see and predict. So just go as you are.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
planning actually to visit him.
You did well, Walid, because the continuous conversation with just like this guy
Let me
is
tell you,
useless.
the funny thing. When we finished the conversation, and this is what's sad, what sad about the Iraqi society. When we finished the conversation, he asked his cousin,
Hmm.
"Shall we go?" And I said, "Where do you want to go?" He said, "I want to visit my neighbor. He is in Medina al-Tab.
Hmm.
Uh, he had some complications of
Of Corona.
19.
Oh my
Yeah, and
God. Oh
one of
my God.
one of his lungs has malfunction. So
Mm.
there's this kind of uh, funny thing that he is refusing taking the virus, and he's planning to go
Yeah,
visit
yeah, 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 yeah,
his
yeah.
neighbor who is dying out of COVID complications. It doesn't make
Yeah.
sense to me, honestly, anymore.
What you can imagine, Walid, from the people that do not wear the mask to protect themselves, and you want them to take the vaccination. They are not wearing the mask. How they will get the vaccination? And they believe by the rumors.
Hmm.
They will insert a chip in your body to follow you, to see you when you are taking shower in the bathroom, to decrease your fertility. These
Well,
are
I
some.
mean, I will definitely be interested in seeing people taking showers in California and Sweden, not in Iraq with
Yes,
big
not in Iraq.
bellies,
Not in
big
Iraq, of course, not in Iraq.
Nareed and Bacha. That's not going to be very interesting and
I'm not interesting anywhere.
erotic anymore. It's not going to be
Yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
On this note, this is quite interesting conversation that we're taking.
This
Well,
was a sample, Waleed, a sample of the huge number of people that which they are not uneducated people, and separate the uneducation in the society.
mhm. Well, it's very complicated thing. I was invited to an American university in Baghdad 4 or 5 days ago.
I see. I saw your tour. It was very
And
beautiful and interested.
I used to work with a a teacher of a friend of mine. Her name is Lisa, and we worked together for 5 years. Now she is the
Hmm.
manager of the English Training Center in the American University in Baghdad. And uh,
Oh, very good.
I went there. She escorted me in her car, and we took a
A
very
tour.
long tour in the
Yeah.
university. And believe me, you will be shocked once you
Hmm.
are in the American university, which I highly recommend you pay a visit to in a way or another, sometime now or later.
Hmm.
Um, there, the greenery is everywhere. The weather is
Hmm.
pretty clean. The streets are speck and span, as we say in English, very clean. You almost never see a piece of dirt on the
Hmm.
streets. When we got in, the whole system was really
Hmm.
fascinating. I don't know if you've seen the whole video or not. I shot it in my um,
Hmm.
phone, not in my professional camera.
I saw a long part from it.
So, so the idea is we were talking about something quite interesting, and at some point in our conversation, we're sitting around a table with another teacher, American teacher, and he asked, like, why don't we see a lot of publication of research papers in Iraq? So I thought, well, how am I supposed to answer him?
Mhm.
There are so many complications, and the whole thing is connected to each other. Like if you make a driving mistake in one of the streets in the United States, the bank will know, so they will increase the amount of interest that you have to pay
Mhm.
monthly,
They are
because
right.
you will receive a report from police, and this report is going to be open to access by big corporate agencies. So once you apply for a job, they will know that you are reckless, you're drunk all the time, you have alcohol in your body. So it's going to be a risk to pay for your health insurance, and eventually that is going to contribute negatively of you to getting a job. So everything is connected. So I was thinking about the whole situation and why people don't publish papers in Iraq with solidity. Like first, education, health, mental status, psychological complications, financial issues, the whole security and stability, the whole decline of education and the degeneration of the whole process of education. All of that is contributing in the percentile of 100% of the decline of education. So I tried to explain, but at some point you just feel frustrated. Anyways,
Walid, just let me ask you some question. Regarding the American University in Baghdad, is it a real American university like that in Beirut or in Dubai, or just a name?
They are the same university, but then there are some facts that you need to bear in mind. The American university has nothing to do with the United States.
Okay.
The
American system, I mean the system, is it the same system at Beirut and Dubai?
100%. The American university doesn't have a branch in the United States. So it's only existing in Middle East and around the world. It doesn't have a branch in the United States that is called American University, that we can consider this university an affiliate to. They don't. This university is just a title that is called American University. Now, when it comes to the system, it is run 100% by American professors and British and Canadian professors. They teach all majors. Well, not all majors. The most important majors: business, law, pharmacy. They provide bachelor degree studies plus English training. They use the same system of education that is found in the Ivy League, as we call them, universities in the United States. So their system is really solid and good. I have visited the American University in Beirut. I haven't visited the American University in Cairo, but I've seen this university, and it's nothing that you've seen in any university in Iraq.
So is there any probability to see you as one of the teaching staff over there?
Fingers crossed. We never know. Okay. Well, on this point, I have some sort of task that I want you to do.
Okay.
I will look at the English chart. I will send you a short sample.
Yeah.
Have a look at the sample, and I want you to write 150 words building on this chart. Now, there are two ways we can do this training for this particular graph. This is task number one. You should take only 20 minutes to finish. There are two tasks writing. The first one is the long essay, which we have been working on. And this one is the shorter one. Now, this should take you only 20 minutes to finish, because the time allocated to this activity is only 20 minutes. So you just need to reflect, design a framework of what you are going to write and focus on, and then fill it in. Once you complete that, send it to me. There are two ways. We can look at your sample and see where the errors are, and gradually improve you, give you feedback. Or we can go through the whole theory of how you write that and then do the application. So I am tending to be doing it, seeing that you've been writing a lot and within your territory of interest talking about COVID. I would say let's sacrifice some of the goats that we have and give you the chance to write 150 words. Time yourself 20 minutes, send it to me, or post it on the Google Sheet. I'll give you feedback on the Google Sheet where you are going to work on that one particularly in addition to this one.
Okay. Did you have time to check the last essay of mine, which was related to the math and philosophy?
I I was just looking at before I give you the call. So
Okay.
I'll have a look at it now. I'll just check it out and give you feedback in
Okay.
addition to the one that I'm expecting
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
to finalize for
I
this
see that.
graph.
Okay, I see that.
Osama, thank you so much. Stay
Thank
tuned
you.
and
Thank you, Mr. Walid.
another encounter this week, particularly.
Inshallah. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Bye.